Now, Republicans are threatening to shut down the government again. Oh, no. So now this is how a story starts, and you know how it's going to go, right? The Republicans are bad guys. The Democrats are good guys. They're trying to be reasonable. Wrong! That is not how this story goes. See, the Republicans are focused on this thing called the Export-Import Bank, and they think that it's corporate welfare. They are 100% right. What is this? Okay, it's true, and I'm going to explain it to you. Now, we'll find out which side the Democrats are on in a second. The XM, as they call it, as it's known on Capitol Hill parlance, provides cheap loans to foreign companies who want to buy U.S. manufactured goods, particularly Boeing airplanes. Okay, so let's just take a moment to savor that. Okay, so we give taxpayer money to foreign companies to buy Boeing airplanes. How does that help us? I mean, that's crazy. Okay, it's nuts, man. It's not just Boeing airplanes. It's about 10 companies in all, some huge ones I'll show you in a second. But it's an obvious, giant subsidy that only these companies can take advantage of. By the way, other companies are upset about. Delta thinks that it gives foreign competitors an advantage over them. Like, why are we doing this subsidy? Good question. So Huffington Post explains, they've got actually a quote from Jeb Hanserling, who's the House Financial Services Committee chairman, a Republican I don't often agree with, and he says, XM may not just be guilty of cronyism, it may be guilty of corruption as well. I think that's a fair point. So some of the companies that take advantage of this are Boeing, Caterpillar, General Electric. These are giant companies with very healthy profit margins. So they don't need extra subsidies from the American taxpayer, especially if it goes to foreign companies to buy their products. Every time I say it, I can't believe we have something like that in place. So now, Democrats are supposed to be opposed to crony capitalism and corporate welfare, right? That's a good one, right? So Nancy Pelosi says to all of her Democratic colleagues in the House, quote, everybody's going to co-sponsor this, right? And she puts on so much pressure to co-sponsor it that she gets almost all of the Democrats, except for 4 of them, to get on board. So the Democrats, who are supposed to be against corporate welfare, love this corporate welfare because they think they're geniuses. They're like, oh, we're going to cause another government shutdown, and then we're going to play partisan politics, and we're going to blame the Republicans, and we're going to fundraise off it, and we're going to win that House. No, but wait a minute. You got to know which issue to pick. If they're right on the issue, this is not the fight to put all your chips down on. Besides which, don't you care about the policy at all? I know. It's funny as I say it. So an insider on the Democratic side said, I've never seen internal party pressure like this to sponsor a bill. And he went through bill after bill and said, like, on no other bill has been this kind of pressure. Make sure you do the corporate welfare and then we'll paint the Republicans as the bad guys. No, in this case, you're the bad guys. Now, I'm not in favor of a government shutdown. As a strategy, I think that's a bad idea. And remember, I'm on their side on this issue. But no matter what you think of that strategy, should we stop giving foreign companies our money to buy products from only specific companies? That's the definition of crony capitalism and corporate welfare. Of course we should stop that. I'm so thrilled that we've got the Republicans on the right side on an issue. I'm almost in disbelief because theoretically this should also be their standard. They hate crony capitalism, right? They almost never act on it, but this is a case where they are, so credit where credit is due. Now, speaking of that, not all Democrats are on board. There's only a few principled ones, but one of them is Alan Grayson, and he says, look, the Export-Import Bank is, quote, corporate welfare at its worst. And he's right. Now, there's a guy who could step in and fix this. It's President Obama. I mean, if he tells Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats in the House, hey, let's not pick this fight, believe me, they'll back off. So let's go to President Obama's stance on this when he was campaigning. Quote, I'm not a Democrat who believes that we can or should defend every government program just because it's there, like waste at the Economic Development Agency and the Export-Import Bank that's become little more than a fund for corporate welfare. Perfect. Now, since President Obama was right on the campaign trail, I'm sure he'll stay that way through this fight, right? Okay. Now, President Obama has not weighed in on it yet. I love doing these stories ahead of time, right? Because he could be a good guy here and have the Democrats, stand down, but I'm going to predict that he doesn't do that. that he says, yeah, let's play partisan politics, let's have him shut down the government, etc. Now, like I'm telling you, I couldn't be fair to President Obama. He can prove me wrong, and then he can come and do a segment called Told You, Cenk. I'll do it for him, right? But my guess is, based on previous experience, that President Obama will ignore what he said on the campaign trail, totally be in favor of the corporate welfare, and play these partisan games. So, look, man, if you think the Democratic Party are your saviors, I got another thought coming to you, man. There's no big savior who's a politician, whether it's Barack Obama or it's Nancy Pelosi or it's the entire Democratic Party. So I got people telling me now, Cenk, don't speak bad against any of the possible Democratic candidates in 2016. Why not? I don't work for them. They certainly don't work for us, right? They're not representing us. They get paid by the same guys as the Republicans do. And in this case, we have a little bit of a role reversal, although the Democrats go along far too often, so it's not even fair to say role reversal. It's just role reversal, and that the Republicans are almost wrong on this almost every time, I should say. But now they're on the right side of an issue. Great. Wolf-pack.com, man. The answer isn't politicians. The answer is to kick politicians' ass and make them do the right thing. And you think the Republican Party, after being right on this issue, is going to stay on the right side? They're run by Mitch McConnell, crony capitalist 101. No, the answer is us, the American people. Let's get up, and let's fight against both of these parties, okay? It's not Democrats versus Republicans. It's all of them versus us. But luckily, we now have an army, wolf-pack.com. Join that army. Join the fight.